Hey, what's up everybody? This is Clayton Gonsalves with Go Analytics, and today we're talking about appending queries in Power Query. So let's go. Hey, welcome to our YouTube channel. If you're finding us for the first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all of our data visualization and data analysis videos. All right, so today we're talking about appending queries in Power Query. So what do I mean by that? Well, appending query is really just joining two queries or more together while we're stacking the data on top of each other. So the columns are going to be all the same, but maybe we have different data in each of our data sources. So let's head on over to my laptop and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so here we are inside of Power Query. And as you can see here, I've got 4 queries here for employees. So our business is a relatively small business, so we don't hire that often. So in our data analytics processes, our HR department combines all of the employees that we hired for the year and sends us over these spreadsheets. So we have here employees that were hired in 2010, in 2011, 2012, and finally in 2013. So in order for us to do some analysis on this data, we want to append these tables together. So that means we want to stack them on top of each other. And in order for this to work properly inside of Power Query, we need the column names to be exactly the same. So in all of our queries here, all of these columns need to correspond with the exact same name. Now, let's take a look at one particular case here that we have in 2013, where we have a column called middle name, which is not present in any of the other queries. So if I go to 2012, we see that we have first and last name, but we do not have middle name. So I'll show you what that does when we actually append these files together. So in order to append these queries together, I can simply just select one of them, or I could have selected all of them. And right from the Home tab, I go to Append Queries, and I can expand this menu down here. And I can append these queries into the existing one that I've hovered over, or I can append it as a new query. So I'm just going to do it as a new query to show you what that looks like. So once I clicked on append as a new query, I get this little dialog box that allows us to determine how we want to concatenate these rows into the tables. And it allows us to select if we have 2 tables that we want to append, or if we have 3 or more. In our case here, we have 4 tables, so I'm going to choose 3 or more. And as you can see, the tables to append appear on the right-hand side, and the available tables appear on the left-hand side. As you can see that the tables to append right now is only the 2013 data. So I'm going to click on the 2012 and add that. And I'm going to choose the 2011 and the 2010. So I've selected both of them by holding the Control key on my keyboard, and I can add both of them. So now you can see the tables that are going to be appended together is the 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013. So once I click OK, we're going to get a new query here because we selected append as a new query, and it's just going to be called append 1. So I'm just going to rename that to employee records all time. And that should be it. That appended our queries together. So all of our employees that have been hired since 2010 are now in this query. As you can see here, we have up to 61 rows. And let's take a look at that one column that was only available in the 2013 hires, which was this middle name column. As you can see, where we have the hire date for 2013, we actually have the middle name, but everything else, because we didn't have that column, Power BI simply puts in a null for all of those values. So that's all you need to know about that. All right, now that I've appended my queries here inside of Power Query, the last thing I want to do is that I don't actually want to load all of these interim queries into my model. I just want this final query to be able to visualize this data. So what I can do is I can actually right click on these queries and I can select whether I want to enable the load into the report. So I'm going to uncheck enable load. And as you can see now it's in italics here. So that means it's not going to load this into my data model. I'll do that for all of the other ones. And Power BI and Power Query here just gives you a little bit of a warning saying that you could possibly lose some data because I had already previously loaded this into my data model. So I don't have to worry about that. And now the only query that's going to load into my data model is this employee records all time. So I can click close and apply. And as you can see here from our data well here, we only have the employee records all time query being loaded into our data model. So now we're ready to start visualizing this data. So that's it. That's how you can append queries in Power Query. Now remember, this applies to both Power BI and Excel, and the interface should be very similar when you're working through this. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next video.